Everything is possible for us, everything. So think of manifestation as being, everything's here. It's just our own internal blocks that are keeping us from experiencing what we truly want to experience. So it's more about taking some time for self-reflection. And I'll also be providing some of the keys to help you manifest, to help you create, after I talk about the blocks. The first thing is admitting I'm having trouble manifesting this in this part of my life. So that's the first step, is just admitting very clearly what you're struggling with. And there's power to that. There's power to speaking the truth, admitting the truth, because as soon as you out it, you start to transform it through your heightened awareness. Because you're going to start by going, I'm noticing a block in this part of my life, and this has become a pattern for me throughout my life. It's a pattern for me that I'm not able to create financial freedom. It's a pattern for me that I can't find a suitable partner. So this is the first step, is simply admitting the truth. And now I'm going to go through 10 blocks that can keep you from manifesting. So the first block is having a desire to create something that isn't really coming from you. And I called these programmed desires. They are the kind of desires that our society teaches us that we should have. So our society says we should have a nice big home, a great car, this kind of job. And there are these ideas that we have, and they're not desires that truly come from us, and we're not living our authentic life. So when you really want to manifest something, there has to be a deep down, true desire that's coming from your soul. And when you have that level of desire, you find that it's much easier to create because you're connected to it. So just being in touch with knowing this is what I really want, and it's really coming from me. It's not coming from my parents or my peers or what society says looks good. And that's the other thing. We kind of go for what looks good rather than what feels truly good for us. So that's one of the first keys, is knowing this is coming from me, and this desire is coming from my own being. And that might seem really simple, but once you get through all the filters, you might see that your desire isn't truly your own. The second block is our unconscious and subconscious blocks. Our unconscious and subconscious blocks. So those two areas of our being, our unconscious and subconscious, create the bulk of what we create in our lives. It's just that we're not creating consciously, we're creating unconsciously. So those are the patterns that we see in our relationships and our work. When we find ourselves in these situations over and over and over again, those are our traumas, past imprints that we carried with us from past experiences. So that means that what's needed is healing, clearing out past traumatic or stressful experiences, painful experiences that create our present moment. So here's an example of that. If you were someone who grew up with a lot of trauma with money, say that you were devastatingly poor, then you might find it still like you're struggling to create that financial freedom because you were imprinted with the emotions and the experience and the energy of money is hard to get. Money isn't accessible to me. I have to work really hard to make money. So you became imprinted with these meanings, ideas, and beliefs that are affecting your present moment. So think about if there's an area in your life where you're experiencing difficulty manifesting. What was your past trauma or your past experience in that part of your life? How is it affecting your present moment. And what do you need to heal and bring into balance for yourself? What's that shift in emotion, shift in energy, the shift in the belief that you need to have so that you can create a new energetic space in this part of your life? So think of it as personal feng shui. Personal feng shui, where you're going through all the rooms of your inner house, because these are internal experiences, and you're going through and you're cleaning house, and you're making sure that part of my house is cleaned up. There's flow happening in that part of my house. The third is the inability to receive. The inability to receive. So how many of us grew up in households where we had this work ethic, the Protestant work ethic, like you have to work really hard and be hyper vigilant just to survive, just to exist in this world. You have to be, like at a 9 or 10, constantly stressed out in order to just prove your existence, just to be here. And we have this imbalanced yang energy, which is the energy of always doing, producing, performing, proving, and the energy is always going out like this. And we don't connect to the feminine energy, which is also part of every man and woman. We have our masculine energy of power and action and doing, creating, but we also have the feminine energy of receiving and allowing and letting things happen. And a lot of us don't trust this feminine energy because it isn't valued in our Western society as much as the masculine energy. We're taught like we have to keep going and doing and doing and doing. So just our ability to receive, this is the energy that helps manifest because we're in a receptive state of receiving what we want to create. So just notice in your own life, are you somebody who gives more? You feel more comfortable giving than receiving? How do you feel when you receive? When somebody gives you a gift, do you feel like you have to now do something for them? Because that's not receiving. That's called obligation, and that is not receiving from the universe, because the universe is abundant. It is always flowing, and there's always a cycle of giving and receiving. But how is that giving and receiving cycle happening within you, within your being? Are you open to receiving? Yeah, and Parul makes a really good point. When I receive something, I feel I don't deserve it. How many of us feel that way? Or we have to do something to earn it. We have to do something to be loved. We have to do something to exist. So that's the third block. The fourth block is related to the third one, which is the inability to allow. Again, we live in this world of doing and making things happen. And we actually think that everything we create comes just from like our own physical energy, right? Like it's all coming from me. Like I have to make everything happen. But the universe helps make things happen. Do you let the universe help allow things to happen? Because life is unfolding in this beautiful, magical, divine way. And are you in touch with it? Or are you solo on your own in the driver's seat, constantly dictating every turn and move and thing that is happening in your life? Are you somebody who can also be in the passenger seat? Again, it's that ability to give and receive, to lead and to be led. And when we allow ourselves to be led also by our intuition, by this higher inner knowing that there usually isn't this reason, it's just something that we're given. We don't know why, but we act on it, and then we notice how that magic starts to unfold very quickly in our lives. So we can tap into this serendipitous flow of energy when we tap into the energy of allowing and receiving, as well as creating and taking action. So there's nothing wrong with making things happen, but when we're always in that mode, we can actually push away the magic flow. We can block ourselves from the magic flow because we're always in charge. We're always doing, we're always, we don't turn off. Gotta learn how to take it down a few notches and rest and receive. All right, so the fifth block is that you're cut off from your intuition. And we're most connected to our intuition when we're in a state of being that's relaxed and peaceful. When we're connected and we're present, that's the easiest way to connect to intuition. But we get cut off from our intuition, our higher inner knowing, our deeper knowing, when we are stressed and we're busy. So when we're stressed, busy, we're rushing around from here to there, we're not really open to the higher flow because we've got our lower self is in charge, right? The lower self that needs to survive, get things done, pay the bills, have responsibility. And, it's important to be in this physical world, to be grounded in the physical world, but we also need to take time to connect to our spiritual selves. And that happens when we connect to this moment and the abundance, the infinite nature of this moment. So just taking time to slow down so that you can listen and pay attention is key to manifesting, to being at the right time, at the right place, with the right people. It comes from an internal balance. And when we're in tuned to that internal balance, we find that things happen effortlessly in their own divine, intelligent way. And we don't have to use force, and we don't have to use so much of our own personal energy. We only need to be attuned to that internal place of balance. All right, the sixth block to manifesting are your unconscious beliefs about yourself. The unconscious beliefs like, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve this, I'm not good enough. So if you have these beliefs, which pretty much all of collective humanity shares these not good enough beliefs, because we were born on the idea of scarcity and fear and survival. That's our past, especially with our ancestors. They really had to fight and strive to survive. And a lot of that has been imprinted in our human DNA. So we carry this energy, this collective belief of scarcity, of limitation, of good and bad, good enough, not good enough. And so it's natural to work with these beliefs if you have them. Don't feel bad if you have these types of beliefs, because many people do. But if we don't feel like you deserve a nice house, or that you have to work overtime and burn yourself out to have nice things, then you can block yourself from manifesting. When you feel unworthy of love, for example, we want to manifest a soulmate, but if you don't feel worthy of receiving true unconditional love, then it'll be very difficult to manifest a soulmate who's ready to love you for who you are. So if you are waiting to meet somebody so you can be seen and be heard, ask yourself, am I willing to see and hear myself? Am I willing to love myself exactly the way I am? Am I willing to be kind and compassionate to myself? Because when you are ready for that for yourself, then somebody else, you open that possibility for someone else to come in and experience that with you, together with you. So noticing your relationship to yourself and how you feel on a very deep level about receiving in this area of your life where you feel blocked. So what is the area of your life that you feel blocked in manifesting? And ask yourself, am I worthy? Do I feel worthy of receiving abundance, flow, energy in this part of my life? Okay, so let's see, we got that one. So are you in that part of your life open and relaxed? What's your energy like in that part of your life where you feel blocked in manifesting? So let me just ask you now, when you think about what you want to manifest, let's say it's money. So often it's like money and love and relationships. These are like the basic ones that people really want to create in. So if you want to manifest in that part of your life, what is your energy like? Like when you start thinking about it, do you go, ugh? Do you squeeze up? Do you feel tense? Do you feel, like frozen and sticky? Or do you feel like, oh, yes, like you can relax and be open? Because if you feel this sense of compression in your life, in that part of your life, then it's going to be hard, right? Because it's your energy. So think about your energy flow in that part of your life and how you feel in your body when you think about that part of your life. All right. Thanks for sharing. I love reading your comments. And I'm going to come back to them. Okay, so I'm going to go through pretty quickly because we got a lot of ground cover. The seventh block is that you are disconnected to your internal rhythm. Your internal rhythm. That is so important to you creating. If you are someone who feels like, and so many of us feel like this, but you're like treading water and you're having to keep up with everybody around you and everything around you, that illusion of do, create, and you're just like, and you're not connected to your own flow, your own rhythm, which is really the rhythm of the universe, and giving yourself permission to connect to your internal rhythm, your body's rhythm, and what it really needs for rest and recovery and health, just basic things like sleep, then it's going to throw off your ability to manifest, because manifesting comes from a state of balance, being internally connected and balanced and in flow. Think of it this way, just the ability to rest, to be well rested and have your nervous system restored and nourished increases your ability to create, because you're tapped in, you're attuned, you're in that state of balance, homeostasis. So being connected to your own rhythm takes courage, and giving yourself permission to not go at the speed of the world around you takes courage. And being okay with not keeping up with the Joneses, not keeping up with anybody, but just being in your own flow, your own zone. So what are some ways to get connected to your internal rhythm? Nature, dance, music, creativity. These are some of the top 4 activities of getting connected to your rhythm. Okay, the 8th one is to not manifesting, is not showing up. Not showing up, meaning, are you showing up in that part of your life where you want to manifest? Or are you just like not there? Is your energy kind of blank or spaced out? Like if you want to manifest a soulmate, what are you doing? Are you doing things that are interesting, going to interesting events that you really like, where you might meet other people, like-minded people at those events? Or are you actively participating in online dating? Are you showing up to that space in your life? If you say you want financial freedom and abundance, what are you doing to create that flow in your life? What are you doing to show up in that part of your life? Or are you just wishing silently and just praying that you're going to get that? And there's nothing wrong with praying and wishing silently, but it's really about showing up and taking action. So being in that state of prayer, receptivity, intention setting, but also taking action, showing up, and actively being present in that part of your life. Be present in that part of your life. Okay. The 9th reason is you're not listening. So the 9th block is not listening. This is why it's so important to practice meditation every day, because it puts you more into a listening, receptive state. And when you listen to the prompts of the universe. You are listening to your intuition. So our intuition is like this. I would like to go to Z, right? We have this idea. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to create. And we might have this idea in our mind based on past experience. So we have to go through A, B, C, D. But intuition is like a periscope of a submarine. It can see very clearly how to get to Z. You can skip through steps just based on receiving those internal hits and subtle impressions that you get. When you act on your intuition, notice what happens. So it's not enough just to pray. We also have to listen and act on our inspiration, on our intuition, on these subtle hints and feelings that we get that nobody else can intuit for us but ourselves. So think of it this way. Once you set your intention, you set that radio dial, you're setting a vibration. Now you want to listen. You want to be the receiver and receive the information you need to make that happen in your life. So it's a very active process. It's yin and yang energy to create. It takes both yin and yang, feminine and masculine energy. It takes the energy of being receptive and the energy of taking action. And lastly, the last block is you're not a match for what you want to create, meaning you're not an energetic match. You're not matching the vibration of what you really want to create in your life. So if you're somebody who wants to experience abundance, but internally in your body and your mind, you're freaked out about your money situation every day. And every day your thoughts are, am I going to have enough? Is this going to happen? Is this? And so now your thoughts are running that way, and your energy and your emotions run that way about money. Then you're going to push it away. So think of it as learning. If you have a block in a part of your life, you're learning how to neutralize the energy in that part of your life. So if you have an emotional charge of fear and stress in that part of your life, it's going to push away because the energy doesn't match. When you manifest, it's like a magnet, right? You magnetize, you call in, you draw in and pull into your reality what you want to create. But it's also because you're listening. You can see this is the next thing. This is what is the next step for my soul, my being, my growth, however you want to say that. But you magnetize it towards you by matching the frequency of what you want to create. So if you want to have abundance, be abundant, be generous, Think of money as a flow. Don't be afraid to spend money. Don't be afraid to ask for money. Like, learn how to get over that emotional fear-based relationship with money, and develop a congruent relationship so that it can easily flow into your life. So that's the last block.